Hi, fellow Kickstarter backers and followers. Welcome. This is our live stream. I'm Jordan, here with people from Kickstarter and Shopify to talk about Shopify and Kickstarter and that whole ecosystem and transitioning from one to the other and growing.
Cool. So hi, I'm Stephanie from Kickstarter, and from Shopify we have
Mary-Ruse. Hi. I work at Shopify and previously have worked on a Kickstarter campaign, so I have some experience with both.
Yeah, same with me. My name's Daanish. Nice to meet you. I'm a product manager here at Shopify, and I also have some experience with Kickstarter.
Cool. So it's super exciting to be here. For those of you tuning in, you may or may not have caught the news, but Shopify and Kickstarter have been working together to make it easier for Shopify merchants and Kickstarter creators, who are often the same person, to more seamlessly connect their Kickstarter campaigns and their Shopify shops. So Shopify has written an incredibly detailed blog post, which we love. And then we at Kickstarter created a summarized version of it. But today we wanted to dig into some of the big ideas covered there. And also maybe if you all have questions about, maybe you read the blog post and you're like, oh, that's a great idea. How does that work? So I'm going to kick this off by asking just to walk through some of the stuff. How do you prepare to launch? If you're a Shopify merchant, how do you prepare to launch on Kickstarter? What do you do while your campaign is live? And then what do you do to transition over to your shop and bring your backers with you? If anyone watching has questions, feel free to drop them into the chat. I'll be keeping an eye on that as well and make sure that your questions are asked. So Mary-Ruse, Daanish, Jordan, starting, first things first, if you are a Shopify merchant and you're thinking about doing a Kickstarter campaign, what's the first thing you should do? Anyone, you could.
You want to go first?
Sure. In my opinion, I would start with whatever audience you already have with your Shopify store, and use that to build some leverage and some excitement for an upcoming Kickstarter campaign. So if you've had a store and it's been open even a month, it's better the longer you've been on Shopify and been establishing your brand or who you are, the better. And try and use whatever audience or list, if you have an email list from your store, to kind of build some excitement about the project. So you can let them all know something big is coming soon. We're going to make a big announcement. You can kind of try and get them to invite their friends to join your email list, with a promise of an early bird pricing. So you're trying to just basically build an audience and a list off of your existing audience and list of people who are eager to find out what your Kickstarter project is and eager to buy it and want to share it with their friends in exchange for getting some early access, early bird price. Yeah.
Cool. Jordan, what did you do as you were doing?
I totally agree. Coming into it, I think we thought that we should keep things a little secret, but really we did the opposite. We produced the whole video and all the marketing materials and put them out there and just sort of started to push our fans and our customers to that page and trying to cull off the people that were really interested in the product, and then incentivizing them to share it with their friends. And the people who shared it the most would get the earliest, they'd get the link early so they could get the earliest deals and get better pricing and stay in the loop, and we'd send them updates. And so I think nurturing that audience, segmenting off your existing customers, because maybe not all of them want to hear about this new product, and then nurturing those people that did show early interest, and then eventually giving them a better deal or exclusive info or things like that.
Cool. And then there are a lot of ideas tied into what you both just shared, and so are there any specific product pieces? So it sounds like using discount codes is one thing. Is there anything else that you might recommend people try out?
We used a service called Viral Loops. I think it's viral-loops.com. And it was really cool, really easy to set up. And it gamifies a little bit the early adopter list and sharing, and makes it a little competitive and says, share with your friends to move up the list. And it didn't go viral and get us millions of shares, but it definitely encouraged people to share. And the more they shared, the sooner they got the info to get them the better deal, things like that.
That's great.
Yeah. And just to add to that, in my experience, one of the things that we did is we actually just did a lot of in-person user interviews as well. just talking to a lot of people, just walking them through the product, just talking to them about the problem that we're trying to solve, and building email lists. And when you meet someone and get their email after a long session, you're more likely to have them be way more engaged beyond referrals, which is still important. But when you validate your idea, you want to make sure you consistently keep going back to those same people. Anytime you make changes to the product, even if you haven't launched your campaign yet, it's always just good to go back and get validation, because it's usually, it's usually free depending on how you approach the people, but it's a great validation for your idea.
That's great. I love that. And one thing for those of you watching who don't yet have a Shopify shop, something I should also mention is, as part of this partnership we're doing with Shopify, we're offering new folks a 45-day free trial. So if you go to the Kickstarter blog post on the Shopify relationship, you'll see a link that you can follow to try that out. And one thing we're excited about with that is that with a lot of Kickstarter creators, they're always looking for ways to have pre-launch landing pages. So before you launch your campaign, a way to collect, if you don't have a shop, you don't have an existing customer base, a place to collect emails and interest for people interested in your product. So this is a great way to turn on a shop before you launch your campaign, start collecting those email addresses, and then convert those people into customers.
Yeah.
Cool.
You really should be spending as much time as you can talking to people. Trying to hire a web developer or spending as much time as you can building custom websites is probably not the best use of your time.
Totally. Yeah, and we've heard that a million times from our Kickstarter creators as well. So Jordan, you have a live campaign right now. We're streaming from your project page. How have you synced your using the Shopify services with your Kickstarter campaign?
Yeah, so just basically we listed the Kickstarter as just a generic product on our page with images and videos and things like that, and then we're using that to push people to the Kickstarter page. So that's been cool, and I think I haven't looked at the analytics recently in the last day or two, but I think it's probably one of the more significant sources of our referral revenue, which is really, really cool. So our existing customers were pretty into it, and then eventually, hopefully, we will have those customers be translated into Shopify customers, and then just build that, into our normal audience. So, once the campaign ends, we'll add those customers to our customer database in Shopify, and then they'll be treated like the rest of our customers, which will be fun. That's
great. And Mary-Ruse, what about you? Did you have some experience when your campaign was live with this?
The question is just bringing in traffic from your Shopify store?
Or how, if your Shopify store was live and you had a live Kickstarter campaign, was there a way that you integrated the services or made sure to activate your customer base, or took advantage of that existing web traffic to port it over to your Kickstarter campaign?
Yeah, well, we used a lot of the success of the Kickstarter campaign. I'll tell people what it was. It's called the Evolution Bra. If you want to look it up on Kickstarter, check out the campaign page to see what we did. But a lot of it was retargeting. And if you have a website and you have collections, product pages, and About Us page, we made a landing page on our Shopify website about the bra. We talked about the campaign. You get really detailed retargeting lists that you can create with Facebook. So it's not just one page for a Kickstarter page. You can really segment your audience and use the traffic that's coming to your website and retarget them. Be hey, maybe they saw we put a big banner saying, we're live on Kickstarter, but maybe they're just looking at another product that's not our Kickstarter product. But I want to tell them hey, look, we have a Kickstarter campaign on Facebook and a Facebook ad. And we were able to do that with a retargeting on Facebook using our website. So that was a huge amount of revenue that we got, just people coming to our website, regular customers, telling them about Kickstarter and pointing them in that direction from our Facebook ads.
That's great. I love that. Really quick, a lot of the folks who come to Kickstarter are pretty novice when it comes to this stuff. So when you're talking about retargeting and Facebook ads, is there a great resource you can point? How did you learn how to do that?
Well, okay, there is so many great resources. Shopify is we have a whole team of content marketers who are constantly putting out the ultimate guide to how to do Facebook, how to create the best remarketing list, how to create the best, like how to find the best audiences to target on Facebook. So I would go to shopify.com, and you can go to, in the menu, I think it says like resources, and there should be one that says guides. And in the guide section, there is a whole guide on like getting started with like Facebook ads and how to do them. And it's like, this is like a golden resource. Like it takes you from like, I know nothing to like, I can actually go here and spend my money and like know that I'm spending it wisely and know what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. And then aside from that, like we did work with like these experts. They were called Fund It Today, and they know a lot about like Facebook advertising for Kickstarter. So we worked with them, and it was a combination of like finding these online resources on Shopify, talking to an expert, and then it's just experimentation, like pure go out there, make an ad. It might not work, but you'll learn something and keep testing until you see a profit. That's how I would suggest like you go about it. It's a little bit self-guided, but there's great resources.
Yeah, that's really great. We've heard, I mean, that's one thing. And Jordan, how many days are you into your campaign right now?
We are 31, I think, 32.
Cool. And how much do you have left to go?
14. We did a 45-day campaign, so whatever number that is, 13, 14 days.
You're like 2/3 of the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I think one thing that came up for me while Mary-Ruse was speaking was that there's a lot of different tactics you try during that time period. You probably like maybe try one ad, see how it goes, pivot from that, try tweaking your language a little bit. Have you been using your shop in that way, and sort of a way to reframe your message or try to get different kinds of customers to your
Definitely,
page?
yeah. We've run through so many different types of ads. I mean, we have now, I think our best performing now is this Canvas ad, which is like a new Facebook ad unit, which is really interactive. It feels like its own website. But even before then, with the people that, that initial mailing list that we, siphoned off of, or segmented off, we surveyed them and we said, hey, if you want to learn more, if you want invite to the launch, you have to answer these questions. And we sort of tested different messaging there. So we could come, by the time we were paying for ads, we already knew that certain features were most important. GPS tracking was huge, and health tracking was not so huge. So we knew that, in our messaging, we could target that sort of thing. And then you just keep say, hey, let's check out, let's use a lifestyle image versus a product seamless versus a video, and see which performs. And you can start to segment off and keep improving.
That's great. I love that. And so just before we move on to the post-funding part of this, I wanted to point out for, again, some of the newer users who maybe are just getting started with Shopify, maybe specifically through this promotion we're doing. One thing that we're super excited about is some of the themes that Shopify have that's really suitable for people who are doing Kickstarter campaigns or who are really just starting up with one product or a few products. We've played a bunch around with the free jumpstart theme, which we've kind of are blown away how beautiful it is. We're like, wow, this is just super easy. But being able to put like a nice big image, video, highlight key features, share press, all the stuff that we know from seeing successful Kickstarter campaigns, all that stuff that you want to do. So that's a free theme, and then of course it goes from there to fancier themes, of course. Do you all have anything to add to that before we move on?
Yeah, I think the jumpstart theme is awesome. Like I just agree with everything you said. It's like so beautiful. I only discovered it like recently when I started working here, and I was like, I can't believe they made this. Like it's so perfect for someone who's wants to start a Kickstarter campaign, but like you're not ready to launch yet. It's like amazing. And then while your like Kickstarter campaign's going on, it's awesome because it shows that really important like thing, which is like how much we've raised so far, which gets people excited and like makes them want to participate. So yeah, I think it's so awesome. And the other free themes are also amazing. I think that personally, the best thing about Shopify is that it's like really easy to customize. So if there's one portion you don't want in the page, you can easily remove it, easily change the text and like make it unique to fit like your product. Because obviously no products are like the same. They're all very different, but yeah.
Nice.
And the fact that it's so product focused makes it very easy. And a lot of the other themes on Shopify do focus on setting up like an e-commerce presence, but the one thing that I like about Jumpstart is that it's completely focused on the product and the campaign. And I wish we could share a link, but You can a live demo of the Jumpstart theme just by searching up Jumpstart theme Shopify on Google.
Yeah, I'm going to drop a link to the blog post in the comments here. And if you all want to drop other links in, that would be probably the best way to do it. So that folks, because we link to the Jumpstart theme from our blog post, and again, that's where you can get that referral credit as well. Okay, cool. So we talked a little bit about sort of how you can really set yourself up for success before you launch on Kickstarter, which you all had some really great ideas there. I hope everyone was taking good notes. If not, this video will be archived. And some really powerful ways to use your web presence while a Kickstarter campaign is live. So what I'm also super curious about is how you then take, once your campaign is over, you have a bunch of new backers, you have a shop, how do you make the transition from your campaign to your shop? You could start with you, Mary-Ruse, if you want.
This is really like the most complicated
stuff. I know, sorry.
And like, I can't say like enough when people get so excited about their Kickstarter project. I mean, so much is happening, right? You're like marketing your product, you're like answering customer emails, you're trying to get as many pledges as possible. And like people put off like, okay, what am I going to do when this all ends? They like leave it on the back burner. And then when it's over, like really it's like a countdown until you're going to deliver the product to your customer. And you want that process of like getting their shipping address, the specifics of their order, what size they want, whether they want any like add-ons, like there's all these missing details, and like it's really good to have like a plan beforehand. Like I'm not saying you need to like test it out and like spend like days on it, but like start thinking about it early. Start like experimenting, like open a Shopify store, play around with it, like get familiar with it if you're planning on using Shopify to help you fulfill your orders. Because Shopify is like, it is really a place for e-commerce, for selling online. It's not like a crowdfunding tool like Kickstarter is, but it has so much functionality that you can use it to fulfill your orders. So to turn your backer pledges into like real orders, send shipping confirmations, print shipping labels, it has those functionalities, but it does take like a little bit of experience with Shopify. So I would get on there early, set up your account. There's like a 14-day trial, and you could just like experiment, do a test, like put someone in there, give them a discount code or a gift card, whichever way you plan on like allowing them to purchase their pledge from your store, and like see if they can do it, like test the user experience. But yeah, you can use Shopify to fulfill your orders. It is like a little bit of like there's a couple steps in the process, and I would read the blog post because it's a detailed thing, and you'll get the whole like end-to-end process, like each step that you can take to fulfill your orders with Shopify.
Yeah, and so just before you go on, Daanish, just so folks listening know, that the Shopify blog post is linked from within the Kickstarter blog post, so you can get there from there. Okay, go on.
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to add is that make sure you have your product story set up properly as well, because the moment your campaign ends, a lot of people are going to continue to look for that information, and they're still going to be very interested in figuring out like, hey, how I missed the campaign, how can I get this? Are they still selling somewhere else? And that's why you got to make sure that your website is either setting up for sales in the future, or you can figure out how to set up pre-orders on your Shopify website, because there will still be a lot of interest. And the momentum that usually builds up for a Kickstarter campaign, it doesn't end right when the last day hit. There's still like a momentum that builds up till the last day, and you should do the best you can to make sure you foster that over on your Shopify online store.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's something that we did cover in our abbreviated blog post, which is a feature we provide, which is called Spotlight, so that when your campaign ends, you can immediately convert your crowdfunding campaign page into what we call a Spotlight page, which is just a beautiful image and a nice big button linking to wherever you would like your future customers to find you. Yeah, and Jordan.
Oh, did I lose everybody?
In this moment.
Oh, I lost you for a second.
I was saying that you're 15 days away from the magic moment of your campaign ending. How are you thinking about transitioning from your Kickstarter campaign to your Shopify store?
Yeah, I think we're going to do exactly that plan. We're going to leverage that Spotlight page and then push people to our store where we've already built out product pages and landing pages and all the info and like our video. It'll all live there. And then which I think the coolest part will be, because it is sort of a more expensive product, we can use Affirm, which is a payment processor that Shopify offers. and people can pay monthly for the bike. So instead of having to pay, $14.99 all at once, they'll be able to pay, $149 for 10 months, which should be really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And what theme are you using, Jordan, out of curiosity?
We are using a custom theme built for us.
Wow, fancy.
Yeah. Fancy.
So one thing that Mary-Ruse just touched on also was just the pledge management piece of it, which we know is incredibly complicated. But I think I really just wanted to highlight, because Kickstarter is really built, it's like optimized for this 30-day or 45-day funding period. And then it doesn't really have, like, we have a very basic survey, but as far as fulfilling orders and printing labels and doing shipping confirmations, it's just not a thing that we do. So I think that that's something that through Shopify using add-ons, am I correct? How does that work?
Yeah, it's using like a combination of like the core like functionalities of Shopify. So what's available to you with just the product alone, what's available to you is like a beautiful storefront, a place to list your products and sell them. You can create discount codes and gift cards that people can use. So you're using those like core functionalities. And then of course, like there's like this portion in which you can like download and pay for shipping labels through your Shopify admin. So it's like everything from like placing the order to fulfillment we have, and then you use also some apps. So we have like this huge app store that like allows you to add like specific functions and features to your core store. So I used an app called MailChimp. So it's like to allow us to send emails to our customers and collect information. So that's where we were able to send them a discount code for them to use that was equal to their pledge amount. So once they got that discount code, there was a button on the email going like, go back to the website and place your order. And we gave some instructions like buy what you ordered, and you can also order more things. Yeah. So it was using MailChimp, and then there was a discount code like bulk importer app where I could create unique discount codes for all my bulk discounts app. It's really great. It's built by Shopify also. It's super simple to use, and it was a combination of those two things. At one point I also used something called OrderImp to import orders, and that just like allows you to import like mass orders that happen, because some people we knew what they wanted because they chose just a single pledge. We had their shipping address, there was no extra details we needed, so we just imported them as like straight up orders. It's really like on Shopify, like you can build your own like custom like solution to problems by like going to the app store. We have a ton of support docs, and then you can like make your store custom to suit your need. Like a lot of people are doing amazing, like innovative stuff just with their Shopify store.
That's really cool. So for the viewers watching, I just want to let you know, please feel free to type any questions you have into the chat. I'm going to ask a couple more questions, and then if there's questions from you all, that's amazing. We'd love to answer them, and otherwise we'll wrap it up. So before that though, Daanish, Mary-Ruse, Jordan, what like that I feel like this is such a there's so much here, there's so much depth here. What are if you're like totally getting started with all this, feeling overwhelmed, obviously we've talked about the blog posts, are there other resources? Are there I mean, like, Mary-Ruse, how did you get yourself from like figuring out how to take your Kickstarter backer report and do this sophisticated thing? It sounds sophisticated with MailChimp. Like, how do you, like, what can you tell folks who are watching to really feel like confident about really digging into this?
So like one thing I did is like I was subscribed to the Shopify blog where they're like emailing you new like really, it's not like, it's like really in-depth articles that will teach you a lot about e-commerce and marketing, and then a lot of the technical side of it as well. So the Shopify blog is really important. The other thing is the help docs. Like they have amazing help docs. If you Google like any question you have with like Shopify on the end, you will probably land on a help doc that has like everything step by step how to solve a certain problem that you might be facing that like is something you want your Shopify store to do that like you're not sure if it can do. Someone else has likely been in that position. So those two things, and then also I actually like met with someone at Shopify in person. Like I came to the office and like talked to them about it, which seems like
is that typical though? Is there like Shopify office hours?
We have these gurus. They're super supportive. So we have like a great like call center and chat center. But I actually, because we were just located so close by, that I came here and like met with someone, and like I thought it was really weird, but they were used to it. I think people come in all the time because it's a super like we're all like want to support the merchants, and people come in and just help you out and give you advice. And I think it's like normal for people to stop by. Everyone here wants to help people succeed. So
yeah, I think that's really cool, because I mean, I know I've certainly Googled whatever Shopify, and you almost have so many resources that it's a little overwhelming. Like I think I Googled like remarketing Shopify, and there was like 70,000 returns. Like it was just so many things. So I think knowing that where to find actual people to talk to, it's one reason we wanted to set up this live stream, just to hear from you all directly. We know it's a big help just to be able to ask questions of people.
Yeah, we also asked quite a few people that had existing campaigns or done Kickstarter campaigns that were similar to ours, but not really competing, like a helmet company or Lumos helmets or Peak Design bags. And we just reached out to them and said, hey, we'd love to pick your brain about the campaign and transitioning and all that stuff. And most of them were pretty happy to, at least hop on a call with us and just chat about strategy and, potential pitfalls and things. So that could be super helpful too.
Yeah, and I also, one thing that we did, and I realized we should be using this cool talk to, are you guys merchants or shop owners? How do you?
They're merchants, so like people using Shopify are merchants, and like our support system are called gurus. So it's like you can chat with a guru. If that's what you're asking, I don't know.
Yeah, it is. The reason I'm asking is I'm pinning this tweet real quick. I think that worked. Did that work? Where did that go? Not tweet. Link. I don't know where it went. But that's the Q&A space on Kickstarter, where we've invited a bunch of you to be available to answer questions that people might have outside this live stream. So that's Kickstarter's campus. And we have Jordan, you're in there, and then also Gareth from Rockwell Razors and Brett from Brick are sort of like on deck to answer any questions about this stuff too.
Cool.
Definitely.
Cool. Daanish, did you have any other tips for how to?
It might not be completely related to like a Kickstarter campaign, but if your idea is something really big and you want this to be the one idea that propels your product forward and eventually become a business, feel free to reach out to some startup accelerators as well. They're a really great resource, and might be a great way to actually get some pre-funding, like some seed funding, before you can actually start getting into like validating your idea, building prototypes if it is a hardware thing. And there's just a lot of great advisors, and there's a lot of different startup accelerators all around the world. Many different countries have their own, and they're all very specific as well, like software ones or hardware ones. But feel free to reach out to them, and usually they're like very open to just talk as well. Even if you're not applying to be part of it, at least reach out to them. See how.
That's very cool. I love that. That's an excellent tip. So any questions from the audience? I have a feeling not. We've dropped a bunch of links into the chat. We have the link to the Kickstarter blog post, to the Jumpstart theme, which we spoke about, and also to Kickstarter's Q&A space, where we're hosting a question where folks can just basically ask questions about this and hear from some Shopify merchants on how they handled certain things. I think that's it.
Cool.
Cool.
Thanks for tuning in.
All right.
Thanks for having us. Take care.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for all your wisdom.
Right, there's our product in its full glory before we go.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The last final ditch plug.
Yeah, while you're enjoying, we're being hosted by Jordan, so scroll down and back his project, right?
Yeah, there you go. 14 more days, 14 days left.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.